Someone who now says it may not have been an explosion is the building owner. It's a troubled building, has a long record with the building department. The building owner spoke to CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey. Megan, are you with me?
Hey, Brad, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Thanks for dialing into the stream. We appreciate it. What did the owner of this building, the 35-unit building in the South Austin neighborhood, what did he say to you?
So I just spoke with him. A couple of headlines from that conversation. The first being that he tells me he's obviously had communication with the top investigators on this today, and he said at least one of the investigators told him he does not believe that this explosion is gas related. In his words, he said there was a boom and we don't know what caused it. That was from at least one investigator. Again, that's not confirmed, but that is what the building owner was told. So he is working from, off of a theory that this may not be a gas-related explosion, even though that was obviously one of the first thoughts that we had. He told me he has owned this building for 20 years. He said there were 31 of the 35 units currently being occupied. It's a mix of studio, one bedroom, two bedrooms, so he didn't have an exact head count on who would be in there, but he said he'd be working on trying to get me that number. I did ask him specifically about the history, their inspection history, the history of violations. He acknowledged, yes, they have been through some administrative hearings with his property, but noted that they are pretty minor violations. I say that meaning, they weren't structural. The last issue that he said they had in February of 2020 was an issue with their railing height. So an example of sort of, obviously that it is a violation. Their railings weren't to code, but not something that would necessarily contribute to this type of an explosion. He said that was at the beginning of the pandemic. It took them a while to get that fixed because, again, when the pandemic started, it was hard to get an inspector out to confirm that they had fixed it. He said they did have an inspector out exactly 1 week ago, so Tuesday of last week, who checked all of the smoke detectors. They had a few bad batteries and that those were all fixed. That was literally 7 days ago. He said another thing of note is that this building, he said, is constructed to be particularly fire safe. He has two buildings that are more, I guess, however the construction materials are, they are more flame retardant. I am not an engineer, so I'll have to look a little bit more into what he was talking about. But he said he thinks that's one of the reasons why a good portion of this building is still standing. He says if this had happened at some of his other buildings in Austin that were not constructed the same way, just the force of this explosion, he imagines they would no longer be, standing. The buildings just wouldn't be intact. So a lot of information from him. I think the big headline, though, is the fact that a lead investigator in this case told him that he does not believe that this is gas-related.
Okay, interesting, Megan. I have a couple follow-up questions for you, but it also was noted by Chris Habermill that seemingly the roof itself has a membrane on it that made it basically just flop, where if that membrane were not there, it probably would have blown off and been indeed more destructive. So definitely that fact checks out. Good get on getting the owner of the building. Did he mention anything about something we noted, and this is just from seeing things, virtually all the windows are blown out, but seemingly the ones that aren't blown out have what appear to be new window stickers on them. Did he say anything about any maintenance or upgrades or construction going on at the time?
I didn't ask him about that, but I'm happy to follow up with him on that item in particular. Other than, that recent inspection involving the smoke detectors, he did not have any updates on recent construction.
Okay, so updated and inspected a week ago. He talked openly with CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey. Megan, your report will air when today?
I'll be on at 4:30 and 6 tonight.
Okay, 4:30 and 6 on CBS 2 News. CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey. Important information. Thank you for getting that on the stream as quickly as possible. We appreciate it, and we will tune in. Again, 4:30 and 6 o'clock today.